No one spoke to the millionaire until the cleaner's daughter silently wiped away his tears. Tears streamed down Nikolai Vasilievich's wrinkled face. He sat in a huge office where the hum and laughter of the office could be heard behind closed leather doors. No one dared to enter, knowing it was best not to mess with him. Despite the billions in his bank accounts, he was vulnerable now. Anya, the cleaning lady, who was dusting, approached him and wiped his tears. At that moment, for the first time in a long time, he saw her as a person. Suddenly, Max and Irina burst into the office. "What kind of show is this?" Max thundered, glancing at Anya with contempt. "I understand that you're old, but to humiliate yourself like this in front of this spineless nobody, wiping her snot no less. How pathetic." "Max," Nikolai Vasilievich said weakly, trying to pull himself together. "What, Max?" Max interrupted him. "What are you going to say to me, old man? Are you out of your mind? She's the daughter of that idiot who mops the floors. Why did she come here? Oh, I get it. She came for handouts. Get out of here, you useless thing. And tell your mother to keep her nose out of other people's business. What kind of circus is this? I've got work to do, and you're putting on a show." Anya turned pale and slowly backed away. "How dare you talk to me like that?" she whispered. "What, is it true?" Irina asked with a smirk. "I would be ashamed if I were you. You crawled here begging for pennies. It's just disgusting. You don't belong among decent people, you good-for-nothing. Your place is on the floor with a rag and a mop, so don't imagine yourself a princess." Anya clenched her fists and ran out of the office. She bumped into her mother, who was carrying a bucket. Seeing the pain in her eyes, her mother understood everything and just sighed, shaking her head. But first things first. Elena Petrovna took an old but clean handkerchief out of her pocket, moistened it with water, and gently wiped her daughter's face. "I told you not to get involved," she repeated, but this time there was more tenderness than weariness in her voice. "You know how much I hate it when you interfere. Anya, they're from a different world. We're just shadows to them. They don't even see us." "But I saw him, Mom. He looked so unhappy, as if everyone he loved had betrayed him." Elena Petrovna sighed. "You're too kind. That's not good in our world. You know, I was just like that when I was young. I thought that if I worked hard and helped people, the world would be a better place. And you know what happened? I just became convenient for everyone. They used me and then threw me away when they didn't need me anymore. Your kindness, it hurts you." She hugged her daughter, pressing her close. "I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be strong. I want you to be able to stand up for yourself." Anya buried her face in her mother's shoulder, feeling tears welling up in her throat again. I just wanted to help." The next day, Anya went back to the bakery. She worked 2 shifts to earn as much as possible, but she couldn't stop thinking about Nikolai Vasilievich. She thought she had done the right thing, but her mother's words still rang in her ears. In the evening, just as she was about to leave, the phone rang. It was Elena Petrovna. "Anya, where are you?" Her voice sounded agitated. "I was just at the office, and something strange happened." "What happened, Mom?" That old man, Nikolai Vasilievich, he asked you to come see him. He said it was very urgent. I don't know what's going on." Anya felt a chill run down her spine. "Why does he want to see me?" "I don't know. He asked me to tell you that he has something important for you, and that it concerns our dream," he said. "Tell Anya that it concerns their main dream." Anya froze for a moment, trying to comprehend what she had heard. Could he have found out about her mother's illness? But how? She hadn't told anyone. "Okay, Mom, I'm on my way." Anya entered the luxurious office again. Nikolai Vasilievich was sitting in his chair, but this time he looked completely different. His back was straight, and his eyes, though tired, shone with determination. He looked at her as if she were the only person he could trust. "Anya, thank you for coming," he said, pointing to the chair opposite him. "I don't know how to begin. You probably think I'm crazy. I don't know what to think. A few days ago, I was broken. I was sure I had lost everything I had built. I thought my life was over. But then you came into my life. You didn't see me as a millionaire. You saw just a man, and you weren't afraid to wipe away my tears. You have no idea what that meant to me." He fell silent, looking at her confused face. "I heard you talking to your mother. I know about her illness. I know about your dream. And I want to help you." Anya couldn't say a word. "I'm not asking for anything in return," he continued. "I want you to know that money isn't important to me right now. What's important is justice. I want to punish those who betrayed me, and I need your help. My help? But I know you're just an ordinary girl, but you're honest, and I know you won't betray me, and that's the most important thing to me right now. I want you to be my representative. My representative? Yes. I want to transfer my shares to you. Not all of them, but enough to cause problems for Maxim and Irina. I'll give you all the rights to manage the company. Anya felt her head spinning. But yeah, why? Because I trust you, and because I want those traitors to pay for what they've done. You have to become their nightmare. But I don't know anything about business. I'll teach you. In the meantime, I'll run things myself, but only through you. You'll be my shadow, my voice. I want you to know that you have power, and I want you to use that power to punish these people. He handed her a flash drive. Here are all the documents, all the evidence, everything you need to know. Anya took the flash drive with a trembling hand. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, just do it. And remember, I trust you. Anya left the office feeling like she was in a fog. She had the flash drive in her hands and a million thoughts in her head. She was walking down the hallway when Maxim called out to her. "Oh, Anya, what a surprise! What are you doing here? Did you think I wouldn't notice you hanging around the old man?" Anya stopped and looked him straight in the eye. "I'm here to help him." Maxim laughed. "Help? With what? You know he's not in his right mind. He'll die soon and everything he's built will be mine. That's what you think. What, you think differently? You think you can help him, a worthless cleaning lady and her daughter who dropped out of college? You're worthless." At that moment, Irina came out. "Max, what are you doing? Why are you talking to this?" She faltered when she saw that Anya was looking at her. "Anya, what are you doing here?" "I'm working." "Work quietly and don't go where you're not wanted. You know it's dangerous." Anya smiled. "I know, but now I'm not afraid." She walked past them, leaving them bewildered. She knew a new game had begun, and in this game, she was no longer a worthless cleaning lady. She was someone who could change everything, and she was ready for it. A week passed. Anya sat in Nikolai Vasilyevich's office, studying documents. He explained every detail, every word, every number to her. She learned quickly, absorbing information like a sponge. She understood that this was her chance, a chance not only to help her mother, but also to avenge all the humiliation. "Anya, are you ready?" Nikolai Vasilievich asked. "Yes." "Then let's begin. Today I want you to hold the first shareholders meeting. I'll be right there, but you have to do the talking. You are my face." Anya nodded. She entered the hall. Maxim, Irina, and several other shareholders were sitting at the table. Their faces were full of confusion. "What does this mean?" asked Maxim. "Why is this girl here?" "Good afternoon, gentlemen," said Anya. "My name is Anna, and I am Nikolai Vasilyevich's new representative. He has transferred his rights to me, and I will now be managing the company." Maxim laughed. "Is this a joke? Some cleaning lady is going to run the company?" "This is no joke," said Nikolai Vasilievich, appearing in the doorway. "This is my will, and I demand that you respect my representative." Irina looked at Anya, her face pale. "But this is illegal." "On the contrary," replied Anya, looking straight at her, "I have all the documents, and I am ready to provide them. Are you ready to provide yours, or do you think we don't know about your stock manipulation?" Maxim and Irina turned even paler. They did not expect such a turn of events. "What are you talking about?" asked Maxim. "About the fact that you've been siphoning off company assets," said Anya. "I have all the evidence, and if you don't return everything you've stolen, I'll hand it over to the police." Maxim jumped up from his chair. "You're bluffing. You don't have anything." Anya took several sheets of paper out of a folder. "These are reports for the last few months. Here you can clearly see how you transferred money to the accounts of shell companies. Do you want me to name names?" She named several names. Maxim and Irina were struck as if by lightning. They knew they were trapped. We can explain everything," Maxim said, his voice trembling. "There's no need to explain anything," Anya said. "Just give back everything you stole and leave. Otherwise, I'll make sure you never work in this field again." Maxim and Irina looked at her silently, then left the office without saying a word. Anya turned to Nikolai Vasilievich. "I did it," she said, a smile appearing on her face. "You did even more than that," he said. "You showed them that they are nothing, and that they have no power." A few months later, Anya became Nikolai Vasilyevich's full representative. She studied, grew, and became stronger. Maxim and Irina were forced to leave. And Elena Petrovna, thanks to the money Anya received for her work, was able to have surgery and walk again. One day, Anya was sitting in her office when Irina came in. "Anya," she said, her eyes filled with tears. I came to apologize. I was wrong. I was blind and stupid. I envied you." Anya listened silently. "I thought you were nothing, that you were worthless. But I was wrong. You are strong, you are honest, and you are smart. You achieved everything you wanted. And I lost everything." Anya stood up and walked over to her. "Irina, I don't want you to apologize. I want you to understand that in life, there are always choices. You can be honest and strong, or you can be deceitful and weak. You chose your own path." She looked her in the eyes. "I don't hold a grudge against you, but I can't help you." Anya knew her mother was right. She didn't want her mother to worry, so she quickly pulled herself together. I'm going. I have to get to the bakery. My shift is about to start. Are you okay? Can you finish up on your own?" "I can." "Everything's fine." Elena Petrovna smiled weakly. "Go on. And don't think about it." Anya left, but Maxim and Irina's words rang in her ears. "You're worthless, useless. Your place is on the floor, with a rag and a mop." These words were the bitter truth, but she didn't want to believe it. She didn't want to be like that. She didn't want her mother to be like that. Meanwhile, in the office where mockery had recently echoed, Nikolai Vasilievich sat and stared at the flash drive. He picked up the phone and dialed a number he hadn't used in many years. A hoarse, elderly voice answered on the other end of the line. "Vasily Stepanich, it's me." "Nikolai Vasilievich? Is something wrong? You're calling from your personal number." "Yes. Something has happened. A lot has happened. Remember I told you that my brother left me to take care of his son? Well, this care is going to ruin me, and I won't let him do it. He and his bitch Irina have already started meddling in my affairs. I know everything, I see everything, but I don't have the strength to stop them. They forged my documents, a small but important part. I spent a long time looking for a way to prove it. There's a flash drive with the evidence in the safe, but I can't get it to work. They're listening to everything. I don't trust them. I don't trust anyone." Vasily Stepanovich, the head of security, paused, thinking about what he had heard. He had been with Nikolai Vasilievich since the company was founded, and they had been through a lot together. "What about me?" he asked. You're retired. No one will believe you, and they're watching you too. I need someone they don't see, someone they don't notice, someone who can go anywhere, and no one will ask what they're doing there." Vasily Stepanovich understood where the conversation was going. He remembered Anya, the girl who was always quiet, but with eyes full of some kind of inner strength. He had witnessed how Maxim and Irina had humiliated her. He saw that she cared, and it struck him. "I have someone like that. Elena Petrovna's daughter, the cleaning lady, Anya, the one who wiped my tears." A smile flashed across Nikolai Vasilievich's face, the first in a long time. "Excellent. Find her, but make sure no one finds out, and bring her to me. Tomorrow, at 8 in the evening." The next evening, Anya was sitting in a small cafe where Vasily Stepanovich had asked her to meet him. He didn't tell her why, just said he had something very important to discuss. Anya was frightened and confused. She had only seen him from a distance and knew that he was Nikolai Vasilievich's right-hand man. Why would he ask her to come? "Anya," Vasily Stepanovich began when they sat down at a table, "I won't beat around the bush. I have a very unusual request for you." I don't understand. Has something happened?" Anya clutched her cup in her hands. "What has happened is that Nikolai Vasilievich can no longer trust his people, and I trust him. And I saw you. I saw what happened yesterday. You were the only person who approached him when he was feeling bad. You didn't see his millions. You saw him as a person." Anya didn't know what to say. She felt uncomfortable. You were just human. That's enough. Listen to me carefully. Nikolai Vasilievich wants to meet with you." "But why?" Anya jumped up, knocking the cup off the saucer. I'm just a cleaning lady's daughter. He can't He can, Vasily Stepanovich said firmly. He's in trouble. Big trouble. And you're his only hope. They met in an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. Nikolai Vasilievich was waiting for her in a dark room lit by a single lamp. He looked older and more tired than he had in his office, but there was a sparkle in his eyes. Next to him on the table lay the flash drive. "Anya," he said, gesturing for her to sit down. "Thank you for coming. I won't lie to you, this is a very dangerous game. I'm not asking you to clean the floor or dust the furniture. I'm asking you to save my company. And my life." He told her everything. About Maxim and Irina, about their envy and greed, about the forged documents and how they were destroying everything he had built, step by step. "You're wondering why I don't go to the police, aren't you? Because they have people on the take. They'll cover everything up. They'll make me look like a crazy old man who's paranoid. And they'll do it as soon as I say anything. I don't want to be made a fool in front of everyone. I want them to answer for their crimes. You can do it. You're invisible. You're a ghost in their world." Anya listened to him, not believing her ears. This man, who owned an empire that seemed invulnerable, was asking her for help. She, who couldn't even afford a decent education. "But I don't know what to do. I don't understand anything about these things. I don't even know how to use a computer." "Don't worry," Nikolai Vasilievich smiled. "You won't have to do that. The flash drive in my hands contains all the evidence, all the clues that can be used against Maxim and Irina. But I can't send it by mail or give it to any of my people. They're all under surveillance. You can do it. You're a cleaner. You can take it and go out onto the street. No one will pay any attention to you. No one will think that you're holding the key to a billion-dollar fortune. And what am I supposed to do with it?" "Listen." Nikolai Vasilievich took a small piece of paper out of his pocket. "These are addresses. You'll need to take this flash drive to 3 places. Each of them is a secret safe deposit box where other evidence is stored that will help expose Maxim and Irina. They have accomplices. It's all very complicated. Your job is just to pick it up and deliver it to the right people without saying a word, without making any unnecessary movements, and I'll do the rest." Anya sat motionless. Maxim's words echoed in her head. "You're worthless. Useless. Your place is on the floor, cleaning with a rag and a mop." And suddenly she felt those words disappear, melt away, and the pain of humiliation fade. Nikolai Vasilievich, this rich and powerful man, had entrusted her with the most precious things he had, his life and his company. "Why do you trust me?" she asked. "Because you're not one of them. You're not looking for profit. You're not trying to deceive me. You simply did what you thought was right. You acted humanely. I saw how you wiped away my tears, and I saw something in your eyes that no one else has. Purity." He told her that he had several $1,000,000 in his account that he had been saving for himself. He offered her the money. "This is for you, for your mother's operation, for your courage, for agreeing to this crazy adventure. You can refuse, and I'll understand. But know that if you do, I'll lose, and then they'll win. They'll take everything I have, and you'll remain worthless, just like they said." Anya was silent. She looked at the flash drive and at Nikolai Vasilievich's face. She could see how afraid he was. She didn't see a millionaire, but an old, tired man, and she understood that only she could help him. "I agree," she said quietly. The next day, Anya left the house with the flash drive in her hands. She wasn't going to work at the bakery as usual. She was going there for a completely different reason. What she held in her hands was not just a piece of plastic, but the key to salvation. A key that could either save them both or destroy them. She was no longer worthless. She was the only hope for a man who had everything, but was completely alone. Meanwhile, Maxim and Irina celebrated their victory. They believed that Nikolai Vasilievich was broken and would soon retire. "Well, old man," said Maxim, pouring himself a glass of champagne, "you'll be retiring soon, and then we can finally start living." "Do you think he'll give up so easily?" Irina was more cautious. "He's not stupid. He's an old fool who believes in goodness. He just can't accept that money rules the world, not emotions, and his kindness will be his downfall. As for that good-for-nothing, I think he'll forget about her quickly. She's nothing to him, just dust he never saw." Irina, however, was not so sure. She remembered how Anya looked at her when she humiliated her. There was no fear in those eyes, but something else. Something she couldn't understand. She didn't want to think about it. She just wanted money and power. But something deep down told her that they had missed something. Anya walked through the city. She took the bus, then the subway, and then walked. She saw how the world around her was changing. Before, she always kept her head down so that no one would look at her. Now she looked at the world. She saw the eyes of people going to work shining, saw them smiling. She saw that the world around her was not just dirty streets and old buildings. It was a world of possibilities. She walked into that world, and she was no longer afraid. She was ready. She was ready to save her friend. The first point on Nikolai Vasilievich's list led to the other end of the city, to an old, run-down neighborhood where a factory once stood. Anya felt her heart beating faster with every step she took. The flash drive, which had seemed so light in her hand, now weighed as much as the whole world. She found the right house. It was an abandoned warehouse with broken windows and graffiti on the walls. The door was ajar. Anya hesitantly entered. The air was heavy, smelling of mold and metal. Empty bottles and old newspapers littered the floor. "You're late," a hoarse voice came from the darkness. Anya shuddered. In the corner, on a rusty chair, sat an old man with a gray beard, dressed in a worn jacket. In his hands, he held an old telephone covered in marker pen. I'm Anya. I'm from Nikolai Vasilievich," she stammered. "I know who you are," said the old man, standing up. "I know who you are and who your mother is. And I know who you are now. The daughter of a cleaning lady who's trying to play spy. Why? What did he promise you?" He just asked me. And also what?" The old man moved closer to her. His eyes were sharp and piercing. "Did he promise you mountains of gold? Or did he just decide to use you like he used everyone else?" "He's not like that," Anya flushed. "He's in trouble, and I can't just walk away." "Of course you can't," the old man sneered. "How could you worthless thing, walk away from billions?" His words hit her like a slap in the face. It was the same tone, the same words she had heard from Maxim and Irina. She realized that in this world ruled by money, people saw only one thing: greed. But she knew that wasn't true. She knew she wasn't here for the money. She was here because she had seen a human being in the millionaire's office. "I'm not asking for anything," she said firmly. "I brought what he asked for. Here." She handed him the flash drive. The old man took it, but didn't look at it. He continued to look into her eyes. "Daughter, I know Nikolai Vasilievich better than you do. He's a good man, but sometimes he's too trusting, and that will be his downfall. If you betray him, he will lose everything. But if you remain loyal to him, I won't betray him," Anya said firmly. "Never." The old man smiled. He took another flash drive out of his pocket, exactly the same as hers. "This is for you. It's my share. I trust you. Don't let me down." She took it and left. She walked down the street, feeling her heart beating in her chest. She didn't know who the old man was, but she knew he trusted her, and that was more important to her than any amount of money. Maxim's office was plunged into semi-darkness. Soft jazz from an old record complemented the tense silence, which was broken only by the voice on the phone. Maxim stood by the panoramic window, looking at the city that, as it seemed to him, already belonged to him. "Max, you're obsessed." Irina's slightly annoyed voice came through the phone. "You're paranoid. He's an old man, confined to a wheelchair. All his security guards are our people. What can he do? Run away. He never gives up, Ira." Maxim pressed the receiver to his ear, peering at the outlines of the skyscrapers. "He's too calm. I feel like he's up to something." "Listen." Irina's voice softened, but there was still contempt in it. "He's just waiting for the end. His heart is a bomb that's about to explode. We just have to wait." Maxim slowly shook his head, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "That's not his style. I've known him for years. He's not just an old man, he's Nikolai Vasilievich. And if he loses, he does it with style, taking everyone around him with him." "But we're the only ones around him, Max. His only family, and he knows it." Maxim turned and sat down at the table with determination. "He knows I want his place. He knows you're my weapon. He wouldn't just stand by and watch. I feel like he's playing with me, and I don't like it. What do you suggest? Check everyone, Ira. Absolutely everyone. Everyone in his circle. Even the cleaners. Check their past, their connections. The cleaners? Irina laughed. Max, that's ridiculous. You think an old millionaire would trust... Just do it. Maxim's voice grew louder. I don't want to take any chances. Cleaners, gardeners, anyone. I don't want anything to slip past us. Anya walked through the streets, feeling the world around her change. Every rustle, every glance seemed suspicious to her. She noticed the same man in a gray coat watching her. He was sitting on a bench, pretending to read a newspaper. Anya felt her heart pound, but she didn't stop. She just changed her route, turned into a narrow alley, and quickened her pace. The second location was in an abandoned park. In the center of the park stood an old gazebo overgrown with ivy. Inside, on a bench, sat a man dressed in black. He was young, but his eyes were old and wise. Anya? He asked. Yes, she replied. I'm from Nikolai Vasilievich. Good, I have something for you. He handed her a small envelope. Inside was a piece of paper with addresses and another flash drive. These are addresses, he said. The third location, and... He looked her straight in the eyes. I know what you're doing. It's very dangerous. You could get killed. Anya didn't look away. I know, she said quietly, but I have to do it. Why? What did he promise you? Money? Nothing, Anya shook her head. He just asked me to do it. And I trust him. The man smiled. You trust him? Do you know how many people he's cheated? How many lives he's ruined? I don't know, Anya replied, but I know he's not like that. The man in black smiled. He took another flash drive out of his pocket. This is my part, he said. I trust him too, but I want you to know. Not everyone who seems bad is bad. Anya left the gazebo and walked on. She could feel her heart beating like a hammer. This man was not like the others. He believed her, and that was more important to her than anything else. Anya reached the third point. It was an inconspicuous house on the outskirts of the city. She knocked. The door was opened by an elderly woman with a kind but stern face. I'm Anya, from Nikolai Vasilievich. I've been waiting for you, said the woman. Come in. Inside, it smelled of herbs and fresh bread. The woman poured her some tea and sat her down at the table. I won't say much. Nikolai Vasilievich told me about you. You are his last hope. Here. She handed her a large, heavy folder. Everything you need is here. All the documents, all the evidence. I worked with him for 20 years. I know everything about him. He's an honest man. But his kindness ruined him. He trusted his brother, and he... What about Maxim? Asked Anya. Maxim? He's just his grandson. Nikolai Vasilievich cared for him like a son, but Maxim always wanted more. He was always jealous. And Irina, she's his tool. She forged the documents, and he used them. Anya felt uneasy. She saw how easily people could betray each other. What now? She asked. Now you have to take this to Nikolai Vasilievich, but not to his office. You have to take it to the same place where you met him. There will be a man waiting for you who will take care of everything. I can't tell you his name, but you have to trust him. He's his right-hand man. Anya took the folder and left. She walked down the street, feeling scared. She felt like she was being followed. She felt that something was wrong, something had changed. She reached the abandoned building. Her heart was beating like crazy. She went inside. It wasn't Nikolai Vasilievich waiting for her, but Maxim. He was with Irina and two men with guns. Anya, Maxim said with a smirk, what an unexpected meeting. I knew you were up to something. You're worthless. You can't just live like this. You always need something. I don't understand, Anya whispered. You don't understand? Maxim moved closer to her. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I didn't know what the old man was up to? I knew. I knew he would play with me, try to frame me. I used you as bait. What? Anya felt sick. All those people you've been seeing, they were all working for me, and the flash drives they gave you, they're empty. I have all the evidence, and now you're mine too. Anya understood. She had been used, she was just a toy, and she had been betrayed by the person she trusted most. Nikolai Vasilievich, she whispered. He's an old fool, Maxim laughed. He thought he could fool me, but he was wrong. Now he'll lose everything. And you'll watch him lose, because you're worthless. Maxim and Irina left, leaving Anya tied up in the abandoned building. She cried, not out of fear, but out of betrayal, because her mother would never be able to have the operation, because her dream had been shattered. Suddenly a man entered the room. He was dressed in dark clothes, but Anya knew him. It was the same man she had met the second time. "You," she whispered. "Hush," he said, untying her. "I'm not who you think I am, and I'm not who Maxim thinks you are." "I don't understand." "I work for Nikolai Vasilievich. I'm his right-hand man, and he knew that Maxim would be watching us. He knew that he would use you." "But why? Why did he do that?" "Because if he fought himself, he would lose. He's old, he's sick, but Maxim is strong and stupid. He didn't know that his people could betray him." I don't understand," said Anya. "Look," he said, and handed her the phone. "Look and listen." There was a video on the phone screen, a video from Nikolai Vasilievich's office, a video of him talking to Maxim and Irina, and a video of him talking to Anya, and a video of him talking to Vasily Stepanovich, and a video of him talking to the very man who was now untying her, and a video of him talking to the woman who had given her the folder. "It was all a show," said the man in black. "Nikolai Vasilievich knew everything. He knew that Maxim and Irina were following him, but he couldn't do anything, because they were powerful. But they were stupid. They thought they knew everything, and they knew nothing." He told her that the flash drives she had received were empty, and the folder she had received was empty. It was all just a decoy that Nikolai Vasilievich used to get Maxim and Irina to reveal their cards. "But how?" asked Anya. "Simple. He gave you the folder, and you gave it to Maxim, and in the folder were other documents that they themselves had forged, and they, not knowing this, took them. And now we have everything we need to destroy them. We sent these documents to the court, and now they're going to go to jail." Anya looked at him. She couldn't believe her ears. She thought she had been betrayed, but in fact, she had been used, but for a good cause. "But why? Why didn't you tell me?" "Because if you had known, you couldn't have been so natural. You couldn't have been so worthless." He smiled, and Anya realized that these words, which had hurt her so much, were now a new beginning for her. The next day, Anya was standing in the same office, but now she wasn't a cleaner. She was Nikolai Vasilievich's right-hand woman, and she looked at Maxim and Irina, who stood before her as if they had been sentenced to death. "What have you done, you good-for-nothing?" Maxim hissed. "I didn't do anything," said Anya. "I was just being myself." You can't talk like that," Irina screamed. "You're a cleaning lady. You're the daughter of a cleaning lady." "I'm Anya," she said, "and I did what I thought was necessary. I saved a man who trusted me. And you betrayed him, and you'll pay for it." The trial was short. Maxim and Irina were sentenced to prison. Their company was confiscated, and their accounts were frozen. Nikolai Vasilievich rebuilt his empire. He became strong and powerful again. But he did not forget Anya. Anya received money for her mother's operation. Her mother became healthy and happy, and Anya got a new life. She became Nikolai Vasilievich's right-hand woman. She ran his empire, and she was happy. But she never forgot the day when she was called worthless. She never forgot that her life changed when she was just a person. Nikolai Vasilievich often came to her office. He sat and looked at her. "Thank you, Anya," he said. "You saved me. You saved my life. You saved my empire." "You saved me," she replied. "You saved me from myself." He smiled, and there were no more tears in his eyes. Anya quickly settled into her new role. The office that once seemed huge and alien to her had now become her home, her battlefield. She threw herself into her work, trying to justify Nikolai Vasilievich's trust. He was her mentor, but not everyone in the company was happy about her rapid rise. The old employees who had worked there for decades looked down on her, considering her an upstart. To them, she was still the cleaning lady's daughter, even though her desk was now covered with reports and contracts instead of rags. The company's financial director, Georgy Petrovich, was particularly hostile. A fat, balding man with unpleasantly small, beady eyes, he always walked around with an expression of extreme dissatisfaction on his face. Georgy Petrovich believed that the place next to Nikolai Vasilievich rightfully belonged to him. He had worked for the company for almost 30 years, loyal, as he believed, to the grave, and now some girl who had been mopping floors yesterday was sitting in the chair he had dreamed of all his life. "That girl has no idea how the financial market works," he hissed to his colleagues in the smoking room. "She doesn't know the difference between stocks and bonds. Her only merit is that she knows how to wipe snot. And the old senile fool believes she can manage his billions. It's ridiculous." Anya could feel the tension. When she ran into Georgy Petrovich in the hallways, she always smiled warmly. But all she got back was a cold, haughty look. She saw how he tried to sabotage her, how he slowly passed her the documents she needed, how he forgot about important meetings. But instead of entering into open conflict, she worked even harder. Every night she stayed late at the office, studying economic reference books, analyzing reports, and trying to understand the intricacies of the corporate world. She was helped by Vasily Stepanovich, the same old man who had once given her the first flash drive. He quietly and unobtrusively supported her in his own way, giving her valuable advice and explaining what was what. Once, while looking through old financial documents, she came across a discrepancy. It was small, almost imperceptible. Several $1 million had been written off the company's accounts as payment for consulting services that, as she discovered, had never been provided. The amount was insignificant for the entire empire, but Anya felt that this was not just a mistake. She took the documents to Nikolai Vasilievich. He looked at them, and his face darkened. "This is an old trail. This is where Maxim and Irina started," he said. But there was no joy or satisfaction in his voice, only fatigue and pain. "They thought I wouldn't notice. But I knew. I knew everything. But there's something else here." Anya pointed to one of the lines. "This shell company doesn't exist, and the money that was withdrawn from our accounts went to another company, which was also liquidated. But I managed to find a trace. They went offshore." "Offshore?" Nikolai Vasilievich frowned. "This isn't Maxim. He didn't have connections like that." "Then who?" Anya asked. "I don't know," he shook his head. "But I'm afraid we've only uncovered part of the truth. Maxim and Irina were pawns. Behind them was someone who controlled them like puppets, someone who was smart enough not to leave any traces, and powerful enough not to fear me." Anya felt herself becoming frightened. She thought it was all over, that they had won. But it turned out that this was only the beginning, and the new enemy was far more dangerous. Anya spent the next few weeks trying to find a lead. She used her knowledge of the city, its abandoned buildings, and quiet streets to find people who might know something about those fly-by-night companies. She met with former employees, people from the tax authorities, those who knew everything about the dark side of business. And she found something. In one of the old archives, she found a document that linked that shell company to one man. His name was Sergei Viktorovich. He was an old friend of Nikolai Vasilievich. They started their business together and built an empire together. But 10 years ago, they parted ways, and Sergei Viktorovich left, taking part of the company with him. "Sergei?" Nikolai Vasilievich was shocked. "That's impossible. He was my brother, he was my family." "But this is his signature." Anya showed him the document. "And it's his handwriting." "But why?" Nikolai Vasilievich was confused. "I don't understand. I was always honest with him. I always respected him." "He was jealous," Anya said quietly. "He was jealous that you became more successful than him. He was jealous that you have everything and he has nothing." But Nikolai Vasilievich didn't want to believe it. He wanted to believe that his old friend couldn't have betrayed him. He wanted to believe that Anya was wrong. Anya, however, was not so naive. She knew that in this world, money could turn a person into a monster. She knew that envy was the worst of all vices. And she knew that Sergei Viktorovich was a dangerous man. She decided to take action herself. She didn't want Nikolai Vasilievich to suffer. She didn't want him to lose what he had built his whole life. She began to gather information. She used her connections and her new knowledge. She found people who were loyal to Sergei Viktorovich and tried to win them over to her side. She didn't use money, she used her humanity. She talked to them like people, not like pawns. She listened to their stories, she understood their pain, and she found something in them that was more important than money: conscience. And she succeeded. One of the people, Sergei Viktorovich's former accountant, agreed to help her. He told her that Sergei Viktorovich didn't just want to take Nikolai Vasilyevich's company. He wanted to destroy him. He wanted to prove that he was stronger, smarter, better. He wanted Nikolai Vasilievich to lose everything he had and die in poverty. Anya realized she had no choice. She had to act quickly. She met Sergei Viktorovich in his office. He was an elderly man dressed in an expensive but unassuming suit. His eyes were cold and empty, like a fish's. He looked down on her as if she were dust. "Well, girl," he said, crossing his arms over his chest. "You think you can beat me? You think you can beat me, the man who built this empire from the ground up?" "I don't want to defeat you," said Anya. "I want you to stop." "Stop," he laughed. "You think I'll stop? I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. I've been waiting for Nikolai Vasilievich to break. And he did. He believed you, a cleaning lady. That was his mistake. And he'll pay for it." Anya wasn't afraid. She looked him straight in the eye. "You're wrong," she said. "Nikolai Vasilievich didn't break. He's strong. He's strong because he's a human being. And you're nothing. You're an empty shell. You're a ghost. You're someone who wants everything but has nothing." Her words struck him like lightning. His face contorted with rage. He stood up, came close to her, and his eyes flashed. "How dare you say that? You're worthless. You're dust under my feet. I'll destroy you like I destroyed Maxim in Arena." "You destroyed them?" asked Anya. "They thought you were their friend, but you used them." "So what?" he shrugged. "I used them because they were useless. And I'm using you. I'm using you to destroy Nikolai Vasilievich." Anya took her phone out of her pocket. There was a video on the screen, a video of her talking to Sergei Viktorovich, a video of him confessing his crimes, the video she had sent to the police. "You're wrong," she said. "You thought I was a stupid girl you could use, but I'm not like that. I'm someone who knows what pain is, and I don't want anyone else to suffer." Sergei Viktorovich turned white as a sheet. He realized he had lost. He realized his empire had collapsed. He realized his life was over. He tried to take her hand, but she stepped back. "Forgive me," he whispered. "I didn't mean to." "You did," Anya said firmly. "You wanted to destroy a man who was your friend, and you will pay for it." Men in uniform entered the room. They arrested Sergei Viktorovich. He did not resist. He just stood there and looked at her. He saw in her eyes something he had never had, a conscience. Anya left the office, her heart pounding wildly. She knew it was over. She knew they had won. But she felt no joy. She felt sadness. She felt that there were no winners in this world. There were only losers. She went to Nikolai Vasilievich. He was waiting for her in his office. He looked at her, and his eyes were full of tears. You won," he said. "We won," Anya corrected him. "No," he shook his head. You won. You showed me that there is something in this world that is more important than money. You showed me that there are people in this world who can be honest." Anya smiled. She felt that her life had changed. She felt that she had become a different person. Several years passed. Nikolai Vasilievich's company was thriving. Anya was its CEO. She didn't run it the way Nikolai Vasilievich did, but the way she would have run it herself. She created a fund to help young talents, so they wouldn't drop out of college like she once did. She created a program for cleaning ladies so that they could earn a decent salary. She did not forget where she came from. Her mother, Elena Petrovna, was healthy and happy. She no longer worked as a cleaning lady. She was Anya's right hand. She helped her with the foundation and the program. She was her support and her rock. Anya often visited Nikolai Vasilievich. He was very old, but his eyes still sparkled. He sat in his office, but now his desk was covered not with reports, but with books. "Anya," he said, "I am grateful to you. You saved me. You saved me from myself. You showed me that there is something in this world that is more important than money. You showed me that there are people in this world who can be honest." Anya smiled. She felt that her life had changed. She felt that she had become a different person. She had become someone who knew what pain was, but was not afraid of it. She had become someone who knew what betrayal was, but wasn't afraid of it. She had become someone who knew what life was. And she was happy. 2 more years passed. The sun shone brighter and the sky seemed bluer than ever. Anya's life seemed to have settled into a perfect, peaceful rhythm. The company she headed was thriving, her social welfare projects were gaining momentum, and even old employees like Georgy Petrovich eventually accepted her, albeit grudgingly. His grumbling was now more of a familiar background noise than a real threat. He still considered her a upstart, but her results spoke for themselves. Nikolai Vasilievich, who was already over 80, had retired, entrusting the reins of power entirely to Anna. He spent his time in his study, which she had specially converted into a library for him. Surrounded by old folios and rare editions, he felt truly happy. He was wise, but his wisdom was now gentle, without its former severity. "Remember, Anya," he said, stroking the spine of an old book, "the greatest wealth is not what you have earned, but what you have preserved. What you have preserved is yourself, your soul. Don't let this world make you like them." And Anya tried. She remembered who she was and did not forget those who found themselves in the same situation. That is why she monitored the Foundation's work so carefully. She knew every story, every fate that they had helped. But this idyll was too fragile to last forever. One morning, while reviewing the financial reports, Anya felt a chill. Several large deals her company had made had been canceled for no apparent reason. Not just canceled, but intercepted by an unknown competitor who offered terms that were impossible to refuse. This was followed by a series of negative articles in little-known but highly influential online publications. They accused the company of corruption, unfair competition, and even of using slave labor at one of their factories. It was all lies, but lies cleverly disguised as the truth. Anya immediately realized that this was no accident. It was a well-planned attack. But who was behind it? Who was this unknown competitor? She gathered her analytical department. Sitting at the table was Georgy Petrovich, looking surprisingly serious, and a team of young specialists who were loyal to Anya. "We're losing ground," she said, looking at the screen where the graphs were flashing red. "Someone is playing against us. Someone has access to our internal information." Georgy Petrovich snorted, but this time without malice. "I told you, Anya, it's not the cleaning lady. These are sharks, and they smell blood." Anya ignored his remark. She felt that it wasn't about sharks. It was about someone who knew all their weak spots, someone who was very close. She went to Nikolai Vasilievich. He was sitting in his chair, holding an old, worn book in his hands. "They're back," he said quietly, without looking up. "Not the same ones, different ones, but with the same smell. The smell of greed. The smell of power. They won't rest until they take everything we have." "Who are they?" asked Anya. "Those who have always wanted to be king of the mountain, those who have always wanted to rule the world." He raised his head and looked at her with his old, wise eyes. "And it's not just one person. It's a system. The Phoenix Corporation. They appeared out of nowhere, buying up everything in their path. They are faceless. They have no soul." Anya began her investigation. Using her new connections, she learned that the Phoenix Corporation was not just another player in the market. It was a shadow structure that operated like a web. Its tentacles penetrated all spheres of business, politics, and even charity. They didn't just want to buy the company. They wanted to destroy it, crush it, to show everyone that they were the new masters. She met with Elena Petrovna, who now ran the charity fund. "Mom," said Anya, "we have a problem. Someone is trying to destroy us, and I think it has something to do with the Foundation." "The Foundation?" Elena Petrovna was surprised. "Why do you think so?" "I don't know." Anya shook her head. "I just feel it. Someone wants to use our strengths against us. Our reputation is our greatest strength, and they want to destroy it." Elena Petrovna, who over the years had transformed from a downtrodden cleaning lady into a strong and confident woman, was not afraid. She looked at her daughter and smiled. "All right, Anya. We'll find them. We'll find out where they're hiding." And Elena Petrovna, using her connections among those they had helped, began her own investigation. She met with ordinary people, those who had worked for the Phoenix Corporation. She spoke to them as people, not as pawns. And she heard something. She learned that Phoenix Corporation was not just a charity. It was a money laundering front. They used the fund to hide their dirty deeds. Elena Petrovna found proof. Irrefutable proof. Documents, photographs, testimonies. She came to Anya with a thick folder in her hands. "Here, Anya," she said. "I found them. They thought they could hide, but they didn't know that we are ordinary people, and we know how to find the truth." Anya felt her heart beating wildly. She realized that she had a chance. She realized that she could win. But she needed help. She needed a team. She assembled a team. Not only her analytical department, but also those she knew and trusted. Georgy Petrovich, who, upon seeing the evidence, understood that this was not just about money, but about the company's honor. Vasily Stepanovich, who, despite his age, was still wise and strong. And of course her mother, Elena Petrovna. They came up with a plan. The plan was simple but brilliant. They would not fight Phoenix Corporation in court. They would fight them on their own turf. They would publish all the evidence on the internet, on social media, in the media. They would show the world who these people really were. Anya held a press conference. She stood on the podium wearing a simple but elegant suit. She wore no expensive jewelry, only her confident gaze and her strong voice. She told everything. She told how Maxim and Irina tried to destroy the company. She told how Sergei Viktorovich betrayed his friend. And she told how Phoenix Corporation is now trying to do the same thing. She showed the evidence. She showed the documents. She showed the photographs. The world was in shock. Phoenix Corporation's shares plummeted. Their reputation was destroyed. The people who worked for them began to turn their backs on them. They had been exposed, and now there was nothing they could do. Anya had won, but she felt no joy. She felt sadness. She felt that there were no winners in this world. There were only losers. She went to Nikolai Vasilievich. He was waiting for her in his office. He looked at her, and his eyes were full of tears. You won," he said. "We won," Anya corrected him. "No," he shook his head. You won. You showed me that there is something in this world that is more important than money. You showed me that there are people in this world who can be honest." But she didn't know that the Phoenix Corporation hadn't given up. She didn't know that behind all their dirty deeds was one man. A man who was so smart and so powerful that no one knew his name. A man who watched Anya from afar. A man who saw in her not just a rival, but his future queen. His name was Demid, and he was just getting started. He didn't just want to destroy Anya, he wanted her for himself. Demid was not like his predecessors. He did not hiss with envy like Georgy Petrovich. He did not weave intrigues out of weakness like Maxim. And he was not blinded by jealousy like Sergei Viktorovich. He was an architect who watched the chaos he himself had created. He was young, but his age concealed an intellect comparable to that of the most experienced chess player. Anya didn't learn about him right away. At first, she felt that their victory over Phoenix was too easy. Too simple, too quick, as if she'd been allowed to win to distract her from something bigger. And she was right. After the fall of Phoenix, new, even more aggressive players appeared on the financial market, buying up her company's shares. They did not act like a corporation, but like a multitude of small investors who, when united, represented a single, invincible force. They attacked from all sides using the most modern technologies. It wasn't a war. It was a blitzkrieg. Anya understood that it was Demid. He didn't want power for power's sake. He wanted a game. He wanted to test how strong she was, how smart she was. He wanted to see how she would fight. She wasn't ready for such a war. She didn't have an army of hackers or millions to bribe officials. She had only one weapon, her team. Georgy Petrovich, who was now completely on her side, found a loophole in the old reports. He realized that Demid, like all geniuses, had a weakness. He was too confident. He was betting that no one would be able to figure out his complex financial scheme. Vasily Stepanovich, who continued to help her, remembered that every genius has their own Achilles heel. He told her a story about how a great military leader was once defeated by a simple shepherd who knew all the paths in the mountains. Elena Petrovna, her mother, used her network of contacts among ordinary people to find those who worked for Demid. She learned that he was unsociable, lived alone, and that the only thing he was interested in was games. He had no friends, no family. He was completely alone. And Anya realized what she had to do. She would not fight him on his turf. She would not play by his rules. She would play by her own. She arranged a meeting, not in a conference room, not in an office. She met Demid in an old park where, many years ago, she used to feed the pigeons. He arrived, a tall, thin man with a piercing gaze. He was dressed in an expensive but understated suit. His eyes were cold as ice, but there was a fire burning in them, a fire of lust for life. "You came," he said, smiling. "I knew you would. You're the only one who isn't afraid of me." "I came to stop you," said Anya. "You don't want money. You don't want power, you want a game, and I'm offering you a different game." "What kind of game?" he asked. "You think you can beat me because you're smarter, stronger, but you're wrong, you're alone. You have no one. But I do. I have a team. I have a family. I have people who believe in me, and that's my strength." Her words struck him like a bolt of lightning. He looked at her, and something changed in his eyes. For the first time in his life, he saw not a rival, but a human being. "I don't want to destroy you," said Anya. "I want you to use your genius for something good. I want you to build something, not destroy it." Demid was shocked. He had never heard such words before. He had always thought that there were only winners and losers in the world. Anya showed him that there was something else. He didn't give up, but he changed. He offered her a deal. They would work together. He would use his genius to build, not destroy, and she would be his teacher. She would teach him what it means to be human. Anya agreed. She knew it was a risk, but she knew it was her chance. A chance to change the world. A chance to show that even the strongest and smartest can be saved. Anya's company became a global leader. Demid became her right-hand man, using his talent for good. Nikolai Vasilievich died happy, knowing that his empire was in safe hands. Georgy Petrovich, old but wise, continued to work for the company, respecting Anya. Anya's mother, Elena Petrovna, headed a large charitable foundation, helping those in need. Anya was happy, rich, and influential. She did not forget her past, often visiting the old park and remembering how hard it was to be alone, but now she was surrounded by people who loved her. One day, Anya saw a woman cleaning the floor and said to her, "You are the most important woman in this building. You make it clean." The woman smiled. Anya realized that her life was not just a success story, but a story about how one person can change the world.